Hey guys, welcome back to Hit Up Rugby League. Got another interview today, which we haven't had in a while. First, we'll say hi to Liam. How you doing, Liam?
Oh, yeah, pretty good. But yeah, today we don't have our third co-host on, Connor. He's tested positive for COVID this morning, so I hope he gets better soon. But yeah, it's just the two of us today. But yeah, we're joined with Isaiya Katoa. Yeah, today. How are you, man?
Yeah, I'm good, boys. Thanks.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, what we do like to do at the start of the podcast is it's a bit of Connor's segment, or yeah. It's called a set of six. So what we start to do is just ask you six fast fire questions, just like a yes, no, top of the head kind of things, answers. So we'll just get into it and get it rolling. All right, favorite fast food?
Hey.
Oh, fair enough, fair enough. All right, early 2022 Premier predictions.
Oh, can't go past the Panthers, boy.
Fair enough, fair enough. Bring back the Biff, yes or no?
I reckon yes. I think yeah, definitely yeah.
You gotta bring back the Auckland Nines.
Oh yeah, right. That was fun to watch. That was.
Yeah,
definitely.
we loved watching it. Going to a few of those. All right, Queensland or NSW?
New South Wales.
Oh, and last one. What was the last one, Josh?
Oh, favorite NRL team growing up.
Oh, that's the one. That's the one.
Kind of, I was growing up in Z. It was the Warriors, and then once I moved, it changed to the Panthers.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, well, obviously, you just mentioned there you were born and bred in New Zealand, in the capital, good old Wellington, where me and Josh are from. But what was it like growing up in New Zealand?
Oh, it was actually a pretty good childhood. Very family orientated. Like I was at school with all my cousins, all my siblings were at school with all their cousins. So it was just like I was just 24/7 just with my family. I loved doing that. So.
Yeah. So pretty much, I'd say most of the people we've interviewed have had to move countries in some form of another to go to the Super League, to go to Australia, to come to New Zealand. So you obviously had to take the step to Australia. What was that transition like early on? Was it tough or was it actually pretty smooth sailing?
Yeah, early on, it was very tough. Just coming from, at a young age, you don't want to be in uncomfortable situations, and we had to move over here because my brother was obviously pursuing his career, so we wanted to move over to support him. So at a young age, I was devastated. Just the friendship that I had there, just all my family were there. I didn't know what to expect here in Australia, but I think that's probably the best. That's probably been the best thing for our family moving over to Australia.
Definitely. So what got you into your sport? Was it your family or anything? Any someone or?
Yeah, I think it would have to be my family. It would have to be my dad because my dad was a decent footballer himself. But so I think family is probably the main influence.
Yeah. Liam and I obviously aren't as talented as you, so our pinnacle of our sport was the school sport, and obviously you got to play for Paddy's. How important do you think school was, like your school years were for your development playing?
Oh, I think school was where because once I think year 7, you're like 12, 13. That's where you start getting into training with professional coaches and working with coaches that have worked at NRL clubs, and we're doing academy stuff. So that's where my development took place, was my school footy, especially when I got to year 11, playing in the Isaiya Cup. We had a coach there, knowing me, and he was working with me also at Penrith. So I just had him multiple times, working one-on-one with him, little half, because he was a half himself. So just the knowledge that he gave me was, something that took my game from being a club footy player to being a rep footy player. So, yeah.
Yeah. There's a theory in sport that I heavily believe in is the older brother theory. If you have like an older brother, they make you better. Do you think Sione made you better growing up as a player?
Just watching him, I know, like he's always been my idol. I've never told him that. My mate, he's that one that I look up to when it comes to anything, dealing with all the pressure off the field. When it comes to advice that I need for my own game, I'll go to him. He's always been the one that, for me. Yeah.
Definitely. Now, a lot of people, especially here in New Zealand and over in Australia, they have the debate between union and league. You obviously juggle them both at a young age. What are some pros and cons about each code?
I think the main one is that it kind of position play. Like for me, I've always been a 10 in union and 5'8" half in league. And I think the main difference that I noticed with both codes was in union you have a lot more space. It's a bit more full game. Whereas league, you know what to do. You have a set structure. Whereas union is a bit more open game. You have multiple phases. Where league you only have 6 tackles. So I think that's the main difference. Is just in union I have a bit more space to move and a bit more freedom in union than in league.
Yeah, and obviously you were telling us before you played play league on Saturday and union on Sunday, and so how difficult was it changing between the codes? Did you get mixed up?
It wasn't too hard because I grew up playing both sports, so it was easy for me to just switch my league brain off, switch the union brain off, or vice versa. So I think lucky for me, it wasn't too hard transitioning into both sports. So yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you this on Instagram, but I thought wait till the podcast. A lot of people would say like playing rugby league may be bad, playing union may be bad for your league. I actually think it's the opposite, that it can help because you get different sort of skill set from. Do you think it helped you a bit?
Yeah, definitely. Something that my dad's always told me is that the whole skill set that you learn in rugby union, you can take it, implement it in rugby league. That's always been so big for me because in rugby union, as a team, it's important, pass is important. And it's the same in rugby league. If you're playing 7, like Nathan Cleary, like you just look at his game, and just his kicking games. He's got his kicking game down pat, defense right, so yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of big raps about you. Obviously, people are hyping you up. How do you deal with that pressure at such a young age of the next big thing and stuff? How do you deal with that pressure? Do you just like wipe it all out and just play footy?
Yeah, I think I've been a big person on, not getting caught up in that stuff. Lucky I've had my brother, he kind of showed me, the way or how to deal with all that stuff. And when you turn, lucky for me, I've always a family that's keeping me grounded. I've always just try and just not buy into it, just try and avoid it as much as I can. Obviously, when people come up to you and congratulate you, you're obviously grateful for it. And you show your appreciation, but when you're in your own space, looking back on it, you just can't get caught up in yeah.
Yeah. So you're pretty lucky to be in that Penrith system, which is known as really impressive for youth development. How did you find your time at the Panthers, and what was the overall experience like?
Yeah, I've loved every minute of being at the Panthers. The main notice straight away, as was the culture, who so good there. Like they build their club up off the culture. Like whenever you turn up to a Penrith train, on standards and not being an idiot in the public. So that's something appreciated of Penrith is just they're so welcoming, but they're also so big on how good the culture needs to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So SG Ball is a great competition, just like the Toyota Cup. Do you like the current SG Ball system, or would you like to have played in the Holden Cup?
Oh, I think I'm not too fussed about what system I'm playing. I think for me, I just want to play footy. So at the moment, I'm loving SG Ball. So yeah, I think I would have to go with SG.
Yeah. I think the reason with the Holden Cup was that people were a bit harsh on the young kids growing up, like, because it'd be just before the NRL game, and they'd be like, these kids just let 50 get dropped on them and stuff like that. And it's pretty harsh environment, I think. With SG Ball's a bit more low key and actually feels like it's more skill based and stuff. But yeah. So obviously you play in the halves, as you already mentioned. To our listeners, how would you describe your playing style, and like what's your comparison to like an NRL player or like a player from a while back?
I mean, I wouldn't compare myself to that role, but I think my style is, obviously you have a structure, but I'm very eyes up footy. I've been very big on, play what's in front of me. So I think that's my play style, kind of off the cuff, but when you need to go back to the structure and get your points and play from it. So, yeah.
Yeah. A guy like that I love watching is Jerome Luai. I remember he against the Warriors like 5 years, like when he first debuted, he came on and just ripped us apart with like kicks and then these passes. And I don't want to make comparisons, but I saw similar things in your highlight reels. But what was it like watching those guys train, like Cleary and Luai? Did you get much guidance from them when you're at Penrith, or you don't really train with them?
Yeah, I've had a couple of training sessions with them, and just watching them, watching and conduct themselves at training. It makes them every single training session they have. There's no thing where they're comfortable with where they're. Perfect example of it is like Nathan. I went to one of their training. The head of performance actually told me that Nathan, he doesn't come off the field until he's last. And one time they told someone to try and compete with Nathan and stay up there and see if Nathan would buckle, but Nathan didn't. He just stayed up there and just worked on skill, just basic. So yeah.
Definitely. He seems like one of those players that just won't give up, or I don't care what's going on, I'm gonna fight through it. So obviously there have been a few elite coaches have taken you under their wing and help you become the best player you can. What advice would you give any player looking to make it in the NRL or any professional sport?
I think the main thing I would tell other kids in my position would be, always be coachable. Like you're going to get so many different coaches in your life, and so many coaches are going to all these different. But if you're just willing to listen to them and take in what they told you and the advice that they've given you, like obviously sometimes other coaches, you might them. So it's just be coachable and just take a little bit from every you get.
Yeah. Did you have much to do with Ivan when you're at Penrith much, or?
Oh, I think because of COVID, I haven't been able to work, closely with Ivan over the last few years. And over the last 2 years, that's when the Penrith Panthers have kind of brought in a development system. They take a couple of younger boys and train them in first grade, but because of COVID, affected that coach that I get with Ivan. But I've done a lot of stuff with the people that are under Ivan that filter straight from Ivan into our grade. So there's still that connection between the top grade coaches and our SG coaches. We're pretty great. We're pretty great for that too.
Yeah, I've always wondered that if it's like if there's a certain system a NRL coach wants to the NRL team to play, does it happen the same with like the SG ball team? Does he sort of say like similar tactics or not really?
It's actually at Penrith, we, whatever the NRL do, we do it at the younger age group. So, obviously not to that extent, as detailed NRL, but we have the same structures, same play. We might have different names, but same play, same pins. So I think that's something that they've built in their cultures. Whatever NRL do, you've got to filter it down to all that. Because if you want to be a player, there's no point of training different to the NRL players. So,
yeah. So obviously, it was a few months ago, you signed with the 17th NRL side, the Redcliffe Dolphins. What enticed you to make that move, and was it really hard to leave the Panthers?
Yeah, it was. I think it's probably one of the hardest decisions. I've played for the Panthers ever since I was 12. And as a young kid, you grow up at the junior club that you're playing. You just want to debut for, like, you want to play for, and that's always been one. Obviously, with the likes of Nathan Clough, Sean O'Sullivan, for they got a couple of halves in the younger age. And I think when it came down to make that decision, it was just looking at what was the best opportunity for me. And going up to Redcliffe, fresh opportunity. They have one of the best coaches in Wayne Bennett. So, although it's going to be a hard move, I think that I have a good support system around me that will help me. And obviously going over to Wayne, he's going to help me a lot with all the things that deal with off the field, not just the field.
Yeah. So have you spoken to Wayne yet or anything, or is it just like him at all, or nah?
Yeah. So I had a Zoom meeting with him. We were talking over what it's going to look like, and what Redcliffe is about, kind of that action. Also, just before, I think it was just before Christmas, he kind of gave me a call. Just checking in on me. It's been good. I haven't met Wayne, but just talking on the phone, I can just see how invested he is in his players' well-being.
It's probably one of the greatest coaches of the game. But so do you have any like goals or milestones in mind for your career before Eddie?
So I think, I've set myself a couple of goals this year, to achieve before going to Redcliffe. I really want to, with my Penrith boys, we've worked so hard in the pre-season. The best pre-season has been like up and downs with all COVID, training and stuff. So I think at the moment that's my main focus. When we massive club, massive Flower Boys. Also, one of the goals that I've always had as a young was make schoolboys. I've always said to I never want to represent Australia because I'm just a Kiwi. But I think making schoolboys one of the biggest milestones. Growing footy player before. I think that's one of the. Yeah.
Definitely. And we've talked to a lot of other players on how they achieve their goals. Do you have any step-by-step process or mental processes that you go through to help you achieve those? Or
oh yeah, I'm not too have of achieving. I'm more kind of adapt to all the situations. Just being present. Something that my brother told me. Don't think too far.
Yeah.
Right, that next day. So just, I think I've always had more of a, adaptable approach to how I achieve goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that we talk to a lot of people about is the Super League. Like, is that an option for you later on in your career? If would you like to go to the UK, or would you rather stay, hopefully, in the Australia and New Zealand and the NRL?
Yeah. I haven't thought too much about the Super League, but I think I know my my aspirations in life is just try and be as well as I can role, and maybe down the road might switch to rugby union, try rugby union. It's always been the young Kiwi and the All Black, and probably one of the classes. So just for me, to just kind of just be grateful of what I've done for me, just focusing on staying in for as long as I can.
Definitely. Yeah, well, that's pretty much all the questions I've got for you, man. It's been a real pleasure talking to you. Thanks for the time. It's been really interesting, and I hope you do real well at the Redcliffe Dolphins 23.
Thanks, boys. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really enjoyable. See you, bro.
See you, boys. Thanks, boys.